Part two of my interview with Senator Barack Obama and the mischaracterization of both his tax policy and his position on the surge in Iraq. And in our fourth story in the countdown, President Bush announcing minimal troop reductions in Iraq through February 2009, when he will have just left office, still leaving more troops there than before the surge began. Speaking at the National Defense University in Washington, Bush announced a reduction of 3,400 combat support forces from Iraq over the next few months and a withdrawal of 1 Marine battalion by November and 1 Army brigade next February.
This amounts to about 8,000 additional American troops returning home without replacement. And if progress in Iraq continues to hold, General Petraeus and our military leaders believe additional reductions will be possible in the first half of 2009.
Senator Obama responded, saying that the president essentially offered, quote, some tinkering around the edges and kicking the can down the road to the next president. At a news conference in Dayton, Ohio, Obama also addressed the president's plan for Afghanistan.
President Bush also announced additional troops for Afghanistan. I'm glad that the president is moving in the direction of the policy that I've advocated for years. But the most substantial increase will come when an additional Army brigade is deployed 5 months from now, in February, after the current president has left office. His plan comes up short. It is not enough troops, not enough resources, with not enough urgency.
And as promised, my interview with Senator Obama. Bear in mind the senator's comments on Iraq preceded today's announcement from the president, though it would not appear to have affected his primary observations. We began with another key topic to most Americans, taxes. I asked a couple of malleable conservatives over this weekend what they would want to ask you, and their answers were strikingly similar. One guy who makes about $40,000 a year said, ask him why he's going to raise my taxes. And another guy who makes about $1 million a year said, ask him why he's going to raise my taxes. Is there a third group out there that thinks, well, it's bad now, McCain's not going to make it any worse, I don't know what Obama is going to do? Is that an identifiable group, and how do you answer those two malleable conservatives I just mentioned?
Well, I mean, I think you make an important point, and this is an example of how the Republicans, the McCain campaign, have tried to muddy the waters. The fact is that guy making $40,000 a year will get a tax cut under my plan. I provide a tax cut to 95% of Americans. Independent studies have shown that I provide about 3 times the amount of tax relief to middle-class families than does John McCain under his plan. What is true is if that guy who makes $1 million a year, it's true, his taxes are going to go up the same way mine will, because we both make more than $250,000 a year. They'll go up back to the place that the marginal rates that existed under Bill Clinton, when we were probably doing just fine. And the reason is because we've got to make sure that the 95% of folks get a little bit of relief. We've got to stop borrowing from China and running up the credit card on the next generation. There is a sense of fiscal responsibility that we've got to have here in this country, and the notion that those of us who've been extraordinarily lucky can't pay a little bit more so the waitress down the street or the guy making $40,000 or the guy making $70,000 can get a little bit extra so that he can put away some savings and watch his child eventually walk off that stage with a college diploma in her hand. I think America is better than that. I think we want to make sure that everybody's got a fair shot in this society. That's what the American dream's about, and that's what we're going to be fighting for during this campaign and hopefully as an Obama administration.
Let me switch over to Iraq and people's reaction to you and Iraq as a subject in general. Your predictions about the surge, your language about the surge seem to have turned out to be just about 100% on the spot. Simple facts. Whatever it has done to lessen violence against American troops and others in portions of that country, the Iraqis are still not paying for this war fully, either with money or personnel. And Mr. Bush has just been advised not to bring any more of our troops home this year. If you are right, why have the Republicans and the conservative media been so effective in suggesting that you were wrong and somehow you need to atone for that?
Well, it's interesting. It's not just the conservative media. I think that a lot of the mainstream media has picked up on this. Partly, I think it is a legitimate surprise on the part of a lot of people that the immediate violence went down so significantly. And I think our troops deserve all the credit in the world for that happening, along with the Sunni awakening that occurred, the Shia militias standing down. There was a convergence of forces that have reduced violence in a way that I think many of us didn't anticipate, including me. What has not changed at all is the underlying fact that, number one, Iraq was a huge strategic blunder that strengthened Iran, took our eye off the ball in Afghanistan, let al-Qaeda off the hook, and we've got to make a strategic shift. The second thing that hasn't changed is the Iraqi government still hasn't taken responsibility, that they aren't spending their own oil revenues. They've got $80 billion parked in New York banks, while we're spending $10 billion a month. And I believe, and continue to believe, that until we send a clear signal that we are going to withdraw in a phased, systematic way, that they're not going to start getting their act together. Now, Prime Minister Maliki has suggested that a timetable now makes sense. Even the Bush administration has been discussing a time horizon. John McCain is the only guy who still is trying to figure out ways to stay instead of ways for us to go. And it is important for us to understand that unless we start putting more responsibility hands in the Iraqis, we are going to be hamstrung in dealing with the larger battle against terror that is so critical to our long-term security.